General Ted Clifton and General Godfrey McHugh were two of Kennedy's aides. In almost every motorcade, I'm going to show you that you'll see it on the slide, one of them rode in the front seat between the two FBI agents. You usually, almost without exception, had 3 people riding in the front seat. On this date, Godfrey McHugh had expected to ride in the front seat of the limousine. He was placed in the back of the motorcade. He later admitted this was unusual. This was the first time he was advised not to ride in the car, and the reason they gave him was so that all attention could be focused on Kennedy. Well, what kind of logical sense does that make? If he's in the front seat of the car, how does that affect attention being focused on Kennedy? I mean, I don't think he ever wore a clown suit or anything that would have, taken away from Kennedy's attention. But obviously, if you have a person sitting in that front seat, if somebody is sitting in this front seat, you do not have a trajectory at Kennedy. You do not. You do not. You cannot see Kennedy through a scope, and you're going to see this on video and in slides, what you can see. You cannot see him if somebody is sitting in that front seat. No Secret Service agents on Kennedy's limousine. This was attributed to Kennedy's orders, though there does not appear to be any support for such a position. I'm going to show you something interesting on that. Overpasses had been cleared except for Daley Plaza. No precautions had been taken for open windows in buildings. No action was taken or report filed on the man with the open umbrella in Daley Plaza on what turned out to be a sunny day. Not one agent mentioned this incident in their reports that day. Again, my book will chronicle many. This is just a smattering of the evidence. Dallas Police Chief Jesse Curry noted that security was relatively light in the area of Elm Street. He made some revealing statements to the Warren Commission. First of all, he says, in the planning of this motorcade, we had more motorcycles lined up to be with the President's car, but the Secret Service didn't want that many. Question, did they tell you why? Well, we actually had 2 on each side, but we wanted 4 on each side, and they asked us to drop out some of them and back down the motorcade along the motorcade, which we did. Secret Service agent Emery Roberts was in command of the agents in the follow-up car to the Kennedy vehicle. He ordered the agents not to move after the sound of the first shot. Agent John Reddy had begun to move towards Kennedy and was called back by Roberts. It was Agent Roberts who appeared to take command of the situation at Parkland Hospital, exercising an authority he did not possess. Billy Joe Martin, another motorcyclade officer, reported that 4 motorcycle officers covering the presidential limousine were ordered that under no circumstances were they to leave their positions regardless of what happened. They weren't to leave their positions. Regardless what happens, you don't leave where we put you. Martin told the Warren Commission that the Secret Service told them that they didn't want anyone riding past the president's car and they were to ride to the rear. He allegedly told his girlfriend, Jean Hill, Johnson's Secret Service people came over to the motorcycle cops and gave us a bunch of instructions. They also ordered us into the damnedest escort formation I've ever seen. Ordinarily, you bracket the car with 4 motorcycles, 1 on each fender. But this time, they told the 4 of us assigned to the president's car there'd be no forward escorts. We were to stay well in back and not let ourselves get ahead of the car's rear wheels under any circumstances. I've never heard of a formation like that, much less ridden in one, but they said they wanted the crowds to get an unrestricted view of the president. Well, I guess somebody got an unrestricted view of him, all right. It's only a few of the suspicious examples of the Secret Service that day. If you are objective, and if you find only one witness that I have presented to be credible, then there is powerful evidence that a shooter fired a shot through the windshield of the Kennedy limousine from the south side of the underpass. It is likely that this shot resulted in the wound to Kennedy's throat. The security that existed in Daley Plaza was the responsibility of the United States Secret Service. Their actions, only of which a few I have chronicled, can only lead to the conclusion that certain members of that group participated in the killing and or the cover-up. It is clear that not one observation by any witness, the evidence of the whole, the statements of the people can work with any other explanation. This evidence passed the test of independent corroboration, geographical limitations, and necessity, time constraints, but also supported the photographic evidence. It can be demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt that unlike the windshield, there is evidence that was not destroyed. That evidence remains alive in the testimony, the independent corroboration, the photographic evidence, and in Dealey Plaza itself. The final question I want to address to you today before I show you some slides and give you one final comment is to ascertain the difficulty of the shot. I said it was 225 yards away. I'll concede that only certain ammunition could result in a clean hold of the windshield and cause a wound to Kennedy's throat. One expert wrote me that the throat wound was too small to have been made by a 6.5 millimeter projectile. The wound is more consistent with a 5 to 6 millimeter caliber ammunition. There was a multitude of highly accurate cartridges in 1963 that could perform accurately from the distance of the South Underpass. He further noted that for a bullet to penetrate automobile safety glass and inflict a uniform wound, it would indicate a non-frangible or full metal jacketed projectile. I can't reveal this guy's name. This guy is still connected with the Department of Defense of the United States military. He is an expert. I further consulted with a number of experts about the feasibility of a shot originating from this location. All responded without exception that it was not a difficult shot for a world-class sniper. One such expert is John Richin, formerly of the U.S. Army and now a gunsmith and ballistics expert. This distance is about 225 yards, but I try to be conservative. I inquired, I said, let's say that shooter was 300 yards away trying to take this shot. And let's further say that they had a silencer. What would the effect of that be? And could a person shoot from that distance? His reply was, a world-class shooter could easily shoot 1-inch groupings at the range you specify. A sniper will always maximize the range out to 1,000 yards and some even beyond in order to minimize detection and location. A silencer will not adversely affect accuracy, and while it will not muffle the crack of a supersonic bullet, it will, however, silence the muzzle crack, confusing people as to the location of the shooter. First of all, I think I'll go through the slides, and I'm going to show you the video, and then I've only got about 2 more minutes. Okay, you've seen these. The official statement explanation was because that there were no Secret Service agents on Kennedy's limousine that day was that Kennedy refused to have any Secret Service agents on his limousine. This is on Main Street. Apparently, Kennedy came to that decision in the last 2 blocks of his life that no secret, whoops. I can find it again now. Here we go. Oh, shoot. Clint Hill on Main Street is riding on the back of Kennedy's vehicle. The story's phony. Refused to let any Secret Service agents be on his vehicle. This is the damage that was done to the chrome. Roy Schaefer in the commentary might talk about this a little bit. Again, it takes a whole other presentation. And I'm tired of being known for this limousine. I want to do some of my other things. This is what the view would look like from the storm drain area, looking at it. And I'm going to show you a video that I took down there too. I have nowhere near with the video camera or my camera to bring in this in as close as what somebody with a high-powered scope could do. You're going to be amazed with some of these things. This is bringing it a little bit closer. You can, even here, you can clearly see figures, but wait till you see on the video. It's going to be very clear. This is the Canceller photograph 30 to 60 seconds after the assassination. Here's the south side of the underpass. This is the truck. The guy's legs, if we could see, Jack White could probably comment on that. He knows who I'm talking about. There was a man actually where this man said he was standing that right after the assassination went up here and smelled gunpowder. This is the full copy of the Elchins. Right here. It corresponds with Kennedy's left ear. This is the Kennedy limousine. Jim, I just want to point this out. I'm not going to make any accusation, but Jim, I just got to do this because I've asked a lot of law enforcement agents. Jim Fetzer pointed this out to me. I think somebody told him about it, is that Clint Hill was a hero after this assassination for what he tried to do. Look at his jacket, or look at the photographs. 95% of the law enforcement people that I show this photograph to, I say, is there anything unusual? They say, yeah, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. I've got friends that are and have been Secret Service agents, FBI, DEA, ATF. I've been in the law enforcement community. If he was wearing a vest on November 22nd, 1963, this again would have been highly, highly unusual.
It's more conspicuous in the print on the cover of the
Much more so. Much more so. Just look at it. I'm not making any accusations. This one has always entertained me. You know, Malcolm Kilduff, saying that clearly a shot entered the back of Kennedy's head and came out the front. I don't know here. Sometimes I think maybe the real explanation was that, they say that he erred later, that maybe they were performing a sobriety test and he was trying to touch his nose. I don't know. Exhibit 350, not the windshield. There's not the windshield. Compare Exhibit 350 with the photograph in Livingston's new book, too. The cracks, of course, are going to expand over time, but examine the direction of the cracks and everything.
This is what the Secret Service produced, claiming it was the windshield.
Exactly. I don't think this was taken that night at all. So concerned, this is Parkland Hospital. Secret Service agent reaching into the car, famous bucket of water, destroying evidence at Parkland Hospital. Believe sincerely, Secret Service doing it. Secret Service agents telling people that they're not holes, not, all these things. It goes on and on. Out of order, I think I've got another one of these slides. This is McHugh. This is where he would have ridden, was supposed to have ridden that day. Would totally have blocked a shot going to Kennedy had he been allowed to ride where he expected to ride. He expected to be sitting in that seat on that day. He was told, no, we want you back in the motorcade so that more people can pay attention to Kennedy back here. These are I think this would be interesting, and Roy might want to explain some of these things. These are the White House Secret Service garage photos. It's reversed. Again, we had technical difficulties to begin with. Apologize for that. What's interesting to me is how overexposed or whatever they kept this. You can't tell what the heck is here. Look. I mean, you can't tell. The basic damage. I don't know if this was. I'm sure it was deliberate. Back seat again. Photographs are taking away. It's reversed too. Roy, you're the one that asked me to reverse that.
By the way, I want to give credit. The stuff dog that Gene Hill's on is that white object in the far corner.
Okay.
That's very important later on.
Okay.
That's reversed with this on
Yeah.
the side.
Again, look at the exposure on this. I mean, you can't tell anything.
That's correct.
Yeah. Exactly. This is a correct photo. The other was reversed.
Right.
Well, it says a stuff. I'm not convinced whether it's either a stuffed dog or the chrysanthemum. See, Roy, you and I tend to disagree. I didn't want to get in a debate with you on last night. I'll be honest. I tend to believe it's a chrysanthemum, but it's not real important.
It's in testimony.
Yeah.
It's a stuffed lamb. It's a stuffed.
Okay. Whatever. It's not real critical. Again, we can't. This is so distorted and overexposed. We can't tell anything. Just look how black they keep this area.
Did you digitize that?
I don't have the sophistication to do that. I'll tell you, I'm a computer novice in these things. Again, this is another photograph of the bucket cleaning up the limousine. And that's what it actually says, cleaning up some of the gore. Well, I've been on murder scenes. I've gone to autopsies. I've actually been at murders. You don't clean up when you're at a murder scene. You don't clean up. You preserve everything.
What did they clean?
I don't know what they're cleaning. He's reaching in. It's got to be scrubbing the blood on the seat. Not very well from those other photographs. But they got a bucket of water, and there's other evidence of a sponge. Deb, I don't know. I don't know. Again, this is a 6th floor view of the window. Again, Stavroselis says that this first shot he sees debris flying up happens right here. That's reversed too. We tried this morning. We had a tough time. This is also Millicent Craner, back about 1991, was in Dealey Plaza. This guy, she was just talking to him, claimed that he was in Dealey Plaza November 22nd, 1963. His name was Johnny Brown, it was the name he gave, said he saw a shooter from the south side of the underpass. Just volunteered it to her. Again, I don't know the guy. We didn't say, get together and say, let's fool Millie. So, this I want to get into for one reason. Jim Fetzer had contacted me, and I don't know if the person is here, Jim, saying that there are some photographs that were never published taken by the Associated Press that conclusively show that there was not a hole in the windshield. Well, I wrote Jim back, I had those photographs. I've got the whole series. So just for curiosity's sake, I'm going to show you, these are the unpublished photographs taken by the Associated Press at Parkland Hospital. And if somebody can show me evidence in any of these photographs that it shows to me no evidence either way, but shows that there's clearly not a hole in the windshield, please point it out to me. But I'll just show you this because these were unpublished photographs. You're not going to see them in any book.
No evidence there.
I mean, this is it was bizarre when Jim, when you contacted me with this. Because I don't know what the purpose was, but I thought, oh God, somebody's got something that's going to sabotage everything I've done. The only other interesting thing is I'm going to mention is that some people believe that Cecil Stoughton might have taken more pictures at Parkland that have never been published because he took so few, and that was unlike him.
He took the 2 bucket photographs you showed.
Right. But he should have taken more. And where those photographs are and why, I don't know. My suspicion is that they might show just the opposite. They might clearly show the hole. Again, nothing here. They're taking the bubble top out of the trunk. You don't even see the limousine here. And these, I purchased the entire set. Again, I'm not on a John Armstrong budget, but I thought if something was important, I was going to dig deep. And nothing. I mean, that's it. Okay, I'm gonna let Roy, if you want to discuss that. It was your slide. Well, I need to cover some other things though first. That's the entire set of unpublished Associated Press photographs. You've seen them, so form your own conclusion. I want to run the videotape again, and then I've got about 2 minutes after that. But I just want to show you how these cars are going to be going about 25 miles per hour. Remember, Kennedy's car is going 3 to 12 miles per hour maximum. But I'm using a camera, and I'm on that south side storm drain filming what it would look like to a shooter with a Kennedy vehicle coming down. And you'll hear my commentary, which was... I'm on the Stemmons Freeway overpass. I'm looking down
directly in front of the depository,
Now these cars are
where we know where the first
see how
shot
clear you
hit,
can see the people?
or was believed to have hit. This demonstrates very clearly that a high-powered rifle from this point, which at the time was in the vicinity of a storm drain on the south side of the overpass, this is consistent with a bullet hole going through the front window and probably hitting Kennedy in the throat. The angle, the trajectory, everything is very consistent with that type of shot being taken. It is very clear that
And remember,
with
Kennedy's
a
car
magnification of a
has to be
scope,
at a more direct
that a
angle
person
because
could
it's
indeed have
making the
been aiming
left-hand
at
turn.
Kennedy.
It has to become
Now
even more
focusing
direct.
back, this would be a real view without the benefit of a scope. However, it does appear that everything does line up perfectly at this point and would be consistent with a shot which is probably took place somewhere along where we see these signs above Elm Street, which would be consistent with the Elchins photograph. This is the most likely site and really appears to be the only site that would provide an explanation for a shot through the windshield, which we have evidence of, and a shot that would also hit Kennedy. We're looking at this now from lower on a ground level, which even indicates that it's more likely that this area was consistent
Yeah, this is nothing like a
with
high-powered
a shot
scope.
through the windshield for somebody that would have been aiming at Kennedy. I'm going to focus this in with some magnification, again a high-powered scope. Which we're at now could even make that more likely.
See how clear you can see the people all the way on
The trajectory,
Houston and
everything seems to line up perfectly from this point. This point was where the sewer drain was in 1963. That area is now paved over. Directly from the overpass to one of the holes in the overpass. Also, this would have been a very inconspicuous place because everyone would have been focused on the limousine and would have been either down on the plaza or some other vantage points. I'm looking through a tube, which would make this equivalent to a scope. And actually, this is
And I'm trying to hold this bulky
unbelievable how
camera
this
too.
could correlate with a shot. We see a
See
bus
how clear
turning now. Right there, the shot would have taken place.
Okay, hit stop on that. Again, I'm hand holding this camera, this bulky camera, a rifle. This doesn't equate to high-powered scope. The trajectory works perfect. There's a little bit of distortion because of the screen, but you can't believe how clear you can actually see the people in the vehicles. The conclusions that I have been forced to reach in light of compelling evidence are not only disturbing, but they leave me really with emptiness and sadness. As I said, I was 10 years old on November 22nd, 1963. Over half the people alive in the United States today had yet to be born on that date. People ask, what difference does it make what happened over 35 years ago? It's a legitimate question. As I noted at the beginning of my presentation, for those of us who were alive on that day, it will always remain a current event in our lifetimes. It is a date that is forever frozen in our memories. As a 10-year-old boy, I saw the world as frightening but full of promise. John F. Kennedy was the President of the United States. It meant something in a way that it never has since. People have become very cynical about our leaders. Whether Kennedy was liked or not, was good or bad, something did change that day. A faith and trust in government was lost that can only be cleansed by the truth. History deserves truth. The people alive now and of future generations also deserve that truth. I hope that everyone can recapture the promise that we should have. Walter Lippmann once asked the rhetorical question, is why do old men plant trees that they will never see grow? The answer is obvious. To survive as a people, we must be concerned for our children, our grandchildren, and beyond. People need to remember the promise that they once had. History not only deserves truth, it requires truth. It is only when that happens that we are truly a nation of, by, and for the people. You've let me be up here a very, very long time, and I'm very gracious for your attention, and I'd be happy to answer any questions after the commentary.